Colin was first appointed Chief Executive Officer of the Ontario Power Authority in September 2008. Prior to joining the OPA, Colin held a variety of senior financial and policy positions in the Ontario Public Service, playing a lead role in asset management, infrastructure investment, and intergovernment negotiations. Most recently, he was Deputy Minister of the Ontario Ministry of Finance, Secretary of the Treasury Board, Deputy Minister of Ontario Ministry of Revenue, Chair of the Ontario Financing Authority, and Chair of the Ontario Electricity Financial Corporation. Colin has a master's degree in economics from the University of Toronto and an honours BA from the University of Calgary. The OPA is responsible for ensuring a reliable, long-term supply of electricity for Ontario, focusing on promoting conservation, planning for the long term, and procuring generation resources. Please welcome Colin to the floor.
Thank you once again for having me here. It is really nice to be here. For those of you who are standing at the back of the room, I just wanted to start off by saying that no, it's not funny lighting. I have donated my face to the OPA Movember team, so it's not a shadow going on. And I have a bit of a techno curse, so we'll see if the slides will actually work. But just to get going, this is actually the third time that I've been in front of this group at this conference, and it really is a group and an association and a conference that's critical to the success of our electricity sector in this province, and very central to our future. And the Ontario Power Authority has a lot in common with OSEA, and our mandates, when you think about it, are ultimately the same: to meet today's needs while ensuring a sustainable future. And when I was on my way over here this morning, I couldn't help, of course, but think about the first time that I was here back in 2009. And at that point, the Green Energy Act had been passed, and we were just launching North America's first and most comprehensive feed-in tariff program. And there was quite a buzz, obviously, and 2 years in, there's still quite a buzz. And the program has been a great success, and in many ways it's achieved what it set out to do. But we are not resting on our laurels by any means, and we're still keeping our eyes on the future. And our approach to sustainability at the Ontario Power Authority is maturing. We're cleaning our supply of electricity, but we're also looking at new and novel ways to ensure sustainability. And in fact, I'd argue that sustainability features in absolutely everything that we do to pursue new avenues to make sure that Ontarians have a better future. Whether it's by funding cutting-edge technologies or the conservation pilot programs that we've been doing to look at technologies that may be utilized in the future, because you certainly can't have sustainable communities without conservation. Or whether we take sustainability to yet another level by integrating energy planning into urban development and looking at everything from how we use water to land to housing to transportation, and balancing those needs with energy consumption and planning for our future supply. I'll get to that in a few minutes, but first I wanted to give you an update on some of the key projects on the OPA's agenda because it gives some context within which we're operating, and that includes the 2-year FIT review. So a lot has happened since we were here. We've obviously had an election and subsequently a new minister, the Honourable Chris Bentley, who was appointed as our new Minister of Energy. And from meetings that we've had with him and the ministry in the last few weeks, there's a few things that are abundantly clear as the government ramps back up. There's going to continue to be a focus on jobs and the economy. And these are two areas where the OPA has made a contribution and will continue to make a contribution. And the government will continue its commitment to building a clean, reliable, and sustainable electricity system. We also have some very specific tasks that are coming out of the election. Relocating gas plants is one of them, and siting is clearly going to be a big focus for us in the coming time. I did want to touch on the Integrated Power System Plan, which outlines needed investments in conservation, generation, and transmission over the next 20 years. We wrapped up the consultation process in the spring. We've completed the draft of the IPSP, submitted it to the ministry in August for review. And so the update is substantially complete. There's still a few data areas to refresh, and the ministry has to be satisfied that sufficient Aboriginal consultation has taken place. But we do intend to file the plan with the OEB for regulatory review this fall. And we continue to keep in close contact with the Energy Board, keeping them updated in terms of timing. Contracting for new supply is a key element of the IPSP, and it's a key area of the OPA's mandate. When you think back prior to 2003, when we were really worried that we were going to be able to keep the lights on, but now we find ourselves in a much better shape. There's been a lot of good work that's been done. Collectively, we've put more than $30 billion worth of new capital investment in generation into our system. And we're right around that point where we're managing now about 21,000 megawatts of electricity supply capacity, which is about 2/3 of the Ontario system. And that includes more than 10,000 megawatts of renewable energy. So a lot of investment, a lot of growth. And not only have we restored reliability, but we now have some breathing room, which is a good place to be in, a place that we weren't in for a long period of time. Now, we do remain committed to nuclear. I know not everybody in this room agrees with that direction, but we do need to ensure that commitment that we do have to nuclear, that it's procured at the right time and at a cost-effective price. When I think about the OPA, I think of it as our job to look under every rock for cost-effective electricity, and that includes looking at all of the options and alternatives that we have available to us. And now that we have breathing room, one of our most immediate challenges, aside from continuing to look for cost-effective electricity, is going to be looking at how we're integrating an increasing amount of renewable resources into our system. And we're seeing that there are going to be some periods of potential surplus energy, and we're going to see more of that over the next few years, until we're in a period where we start to undertake some pretty serious nuclear refurbishment, large scale. Of course, ensuring the sustainability of our feed-in tariff program is also going to be very high on our priority list, and that's really the overarching goal of the two-year review, which is now underway. And we're very excited about this opportunity to fine-tune the program to ensure its continued success. We value your input, and we certainly look forward to hearing from you with regards to what you have to say with regards to the many facets of the program. The review does mark a very important milestone in the FIT program. It's important that we keep current with the cost of technologies, which we all know are coming down. And in addition to a review of pricing, we're also going to use the review to enable the program rules to evolve. And both of these are important elements that will help ensure that the FIT program remains sustainable over time. Now, it was important to provide a period of stability and a period of certainty to ensure that not only this groundbreaking new program, but also a new clean energy industry got underway. But it was also appropriate from the outset to build in a review at the two-year mark, and that's where we find ourselves now. The FIT program was designed under a certain particular set of economic and policy circumstances, and like I was saying earlier, it did very well at what it originally set out to do. It's successfully attracted a clean energy industry to Ontario. It's helping us to eliminate coal-fired generation by 2014. A significant number of projects have been offered and awarded, 2,000 mid-size and large-scale, which represents enough electricity to power over 1 million homes. And individual Ontarians are participating in the microfit program. We actually have nearly 13,000 that are already connected or just about ready to connect. And more than 30 companies have announced that they plan to manufacture clean technologies here. But now it's important to reflect current circumstances as we look to a sustainable program that balances the interests of ratepayers along with the needs of developers. So the government has appointed Deputy Minister Fareed Amin to lead the review, and he's working with us and consulting with the sector throughout the review. We had a lot of people on a webinar that he and I held last week or the week before. Many of you have already provided us with feedback in one way or another in the course of regularly doing business with us. And over the next number of weeks, you now have a more formal opportunity to give us your thoughts in a variety of ways. And that can be through written submissions, through meetings, through teleconferences. And as I said on the webinar, you may not see all of us at every single meeting, but realize that whether it's a meeting with Fareed or with the OPA, it's a written submission or a teleconference, all of your feedback is going to be shared among us, regardless of the mechanism, and your input will be heard. And then I can't stress enough that the goal of the review is to make sure that we have a program that's sustainable, and that as it matures, it reflects the policy and economic circumstances that we find ourselves in today. So just as our notion of sustainability at the OPA is maturing, the program has to mature as well. I want to tell you briefly about a couple of other things that are on our agenda as well. Some of them that you may not actually know as much about. They don't always get as much attention. And we're funding both new technologies as well as conservation pilots that one day may be integrated into our homes, our businesses, our schools. And we've got actually dozens of really innovative projects underway through our conservation fund. And there's a few projects, some of them illustrated there with regards to some interesting stuff that could end up helping us to reduce stress on the grid on really hot days. We've been working with the Toronto Zoo and Toronto Hydro and a company called Ice Energy, piloting a new technology. It's an ice bear system, and it uses special air conditioning units that produce and use ice to conserve energy throughout the day. And what happens is that the units freeze water overnight when energy demand on the grid is low and the pricing is relatively less expensive, and end up with a big block of ice at around 8 the next morning, and then that ice is used to help cool the building during the day. That's just one kind of technology, but we're also doing a lot of interesting things with a number of municipalities and communities. Energy density mapping. We're funding a project with Waterfront Toronto that's building some custom software that's designed to form urban planning strategies near the shore of Lake Ontario. Basically, it helps predict carbon dioxide emissions. So these and others like them illustrate that increasingly there's a recognition that we do need to change our approach, and integrating energy planning into urban development is certainly going to be a big part of our focus for the way forward. It doesn't just help us identify what communities need, but it can be a powerful tool for achieving energy efficiencies as well as greenhouse gas reductions. And in fact, we're involved in a number of community energy management initiatives. We've been working with a number of partners to provide funding to help 4 communities develop community energy plans: Guelph, London, Hamilton, and Barrie. Yund is a very moving experience, very inspiring with their bioenergy village, and we're doing some of those same kind of things here in Ontario in a variety of different ways. And the project that we're working on with these communities was conceived in part to help us achieve our conservation goals as a province, but it also helps those individual communities become more sustainable because they are looking at land and water use and transportation. But they're also hoping that these projects will help them to control their costs and help them manage rising costs of energy and make them more sustainable, but also make them more competitive communities as well. And that's why we've been involved with Quest, which is a coalition of key players from the environmental movement, industry, as well as academia, as well as all 3 levels of government. And we're on the steering committee, and we've been providing funding. Their vision is to foster an integrated approach to land use, transportation, waste, and water, and an approach that will cut greenhouse gas emissions, energy use, and pollution. And by 2050, we actually hope that every community in Canada will have an integrated energy strategy in place. And by working with municipalities in some of these projects, we're hoping that we're also able to help build social acceptance for the siting of much needed infrastructure projects, energy infrastructure projects obviously, as well as others. So you can see that we've got a lot of irons in the fire, but one more area before I wrap up is that I want you to, something that I'd like you to keep your eyes out for. This is a trust mark that we've already started using. Maybe you've seen it already. It's the Cleaner Ontario symbol. You're going to find it on products and incentives and information that's related to conservation programs that are brought to you. It represents a number of things that will help you to manage your electricity use and save on energy. But if you look at it closely, you'll see that there's an electricity plug, there's a gas symbol, a natural gas symbol, and there's also a symbol representing water. And this is really summing up where we want to go next with regards to sustainability. Looking forward, building sustainable communities will require more alignment between our conservation efforts of water, gas, and electricity, because when you're conserving one, you're also often conserving the others. So a more coordinated approach in the future is a direction that we really like to go and really need to go. So one final pitch, since the mandate of your membership is sustainability, and it's even part of the name, I encourage you to participate in the Save on Energy program. We've been working with LDCs across the province in all areas. So we have program offerings in residential, commercial, institutional, and industrial. We've also got an energy pledge underway. Again, it's a province-wide initiative, and its goal is to demonstrate that a few simple and meaningful conservation actions can help climate change and help fight climate change. And we're really doing quite well. We've already got more than 90,000 Ontarians that have pledged to date in the pledge part of the program. And if you haven't already participated in one of our Save on Energy programs, I really would urge you to, because it's really an important part of the sustainability movement, and you can find us through the Save on Energy website or through your LDC. So before I wrap up, I wanted to come back to what I said at the beginning. OSEA and the OPA really do share a number of the same goals, and working together, it's clear that both of our organizations, its sustainability features very prominently in both of our organizations, as we ensure that not only that we take care of our current needs, but those of our future generations. And since there's a panel right after me that's looking at Green Energy 2.0, all the name cards that you see here, I thought I would just finish off by maybe offering a couple of things to think about. With regards to where green energy in Ontario needs to go. We really need to move from kickstart to sustainability. And that applies not only to the program, the FIT program, but I think it applies to the renewable industry generally. And the renewable industry really needs to think about how it fits into a bigger existing system. And so not surprisingly, coming from the OPA, because we have a longer term mandate, I would also say and encourage you to take take the long-term view, not just a short-term view as we work through, because I've said repeatedly, we really are interested in a FIT program that's sustainable. This is the time to make sure that it does continue on as a strong program promoting industry here in Ontario now and into the future. So thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the conference. Thanks, everybody.